I wouldn't say that I don't care. I would say that I have a long history of being a poor predictor of things. All you have to do is look at my predictions before a season starts for baseball. I once lost an NCAA tournament pool to a quarter. The coin flip did better than I did, so I'm not very good at it. But what I would say is I think there are a couple of guys that are really exciting in it. I mean, one, Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be jazzed to do it at home, and he certainly has some rise to the occasion, and I think Jazz Chisholm has that as well. But the two guys that I'm really excited to see are Junior Caminero from the Rays and O'Neal Cruz from the Pirates. And if you haven't seen O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball yet, you have to see O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball. I mean, he hits it harder than anybody else in the game. Not even Giancarlo Stanton has hit a ball as hard as Cruz has. He is really impressive. And with Caminero, it's funny, we were talking on our radio show this morning to Brandon Lau of the Rays. He said when he debuted in Toronto, he took batting practice, and the Jays fans gave him a standing ovation the first time he ever took batting practice in a major league ballpark. And I think that's because Caminero just hits the snot out of the ball constantly. So I think it's a kind of a fun field, even though there aren't a whole lot of huge names in it. But it's going to be, there are some guys that I think are going to capture the zeitgeist.
Mike, let's talk salary cap. I mean, some of us have been around for a while, so the fact that there was a salary cap that eventually got into the NBA, the NFL, here the CFL, and the NHL is startling. But when you talk salary cap for Major League Baseball, you come up with apoplectic, work stoppage. It's just, how does this even happen, and does it actually benefit the game?
So I think those are two great questions. And remember that none of those caps happened without significant stoppages in all of those. The NFL hired replacement players, right? That's what led to the cap, which Major League Baseball tried to do in 1995 until a U.S. Circuit Court judge stepped in and said that it was unfair labor practice. Hockey has lost, a season and a half because of that, and one full season that was shut out to get the cap the way that it is. The NBA had multiple long work stoppages. Listen, I think that it's a really nice marketing tool to say, hey, this is a great opportunity for small market fans to have faith that their teams are going to get players that they wouldn't otherwise. But I haven't seen any proof of that. And I think really what it is the Pittsburgh Pirates aren't suddenly going to start spending on good players. It's because the ownership is going to stay the same, right? Like whatever the floor is, the floor would be so modest in such a deal like that all it would do would be artificially inflate the salaries at the back end. Furthermore, I think, and this is one of the union's talking points, and I do think it is worth mentioning, it's been 26 years since we've had a repeat champion of Major League Baseball. You now have 40% of the league that makes the postseason. And there was this great study that was done a couple of years ago, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was Ben Zomer was who did it, compared baseball's playoffs to the other postseasons, right? And in the NBA, 80% of the favorites win the playoff rounds. In order for baseball to have that happen, every round would need to be a best of 75. So if the goal is to be a postseason that gives everybody a chance, baseball's in pretty good shape in that regard. And really what a cap does is it may give you this marketing idea that things are warm and fuzzy, but it's a little like eating something with a little too much MSG. You're full at first, and then all of a sudden you're really hungry again. And that's because the owners are the ones who benefit for it. There was a story about a week and a half ago that the commissioner was telling potential investors into Major League Baseball, that he had been going directly to the players for the last 3 years to say, you're leaving money on the table. And the response sounds like from the players is like, well, wait a second, like, why if they're coming to us with this, could we believe that it's good? And I think that that's a fair way to look at it. I mean, the biggest people that benefit from any sort of a cap is management. And I don't know that there's anything that helps to drive competitive balance by creating caps and floors salary-wise. So I'm not in favor of it. I'm certainly not in favor of losing a season over it. I think, especially at a time where baseball is starting to grow in popularity again, based on the television numbers in the U.S., based on the attendance across the game, all of these things are positive. Even an off-season work stoppage would be I think, tragic. And furthermore, while the commissioner has continued to say that a lockout is the regular course of off-season business, I do want to point out, I mean, I'm guessing that you guys cover a little bit of hockey. What happened with the NHL and the NHLPA this year? Certainly didn't feel like it was a lockout looming, right, when they got a new CBA done more than a year before the next one expired.
The speed record was set on that. So, as you were answering that, I was thinking that the other leagues, what it's helped is the value of franchises. I don't know that's a problem in Major League Baseball, but you said investors, the commissioner going around to investors. What does that mean?
Well, there was a meeting in Atlanta, and it was, I think, hosted by the Braves ownership. And I think there were potential investors either in the Braves or into MLB ownership groups that were there. But you're right. That's what it does drive. And that is what the commissioner and several owners have said, is that because we don't have a cap, it impacts our franchise value. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my goal isn't to make billionaires even richer, right? Like, that's not, to me, I don't care how much money you're making. I have a lot of respect for John Middleton, the owner of the Phillies, who a couple of years ago said, nobody's going to care if I made $10 million on the season. What they're going to care about is whether or not the Phillies won the World Series under my ownership. And that's the thing, is that I think we have changed into a society that values the dollars and the bottom lines when it comes to teams more than what should matter and how ownership groups should be judged, which is on wins and losses, and as they continue to cut corners, and I'll take a shot at Jay's ownership for this there, I think it's so unbelievably cheap that they don't continue to not travel their radio broadcasters, for crying out loud, to save $70,000 US a year. It is absolutely mind-numbing that they continue to cut these corners to say that they are poor, that they don't have enough money, when clearly we're still able to put on a season every single year.
No doubt about it, Mike. No doubt about it. Now let's talk. We're at mid-season here, or a little past, and MVP conversations come up a lot of years, but I'm not sure there is one this year. I mean, in the National League, Shohei Ohtani is the runaway favorite to do what he always seems to do, to be the NL MVP. And in the AL, if it's a race, it's a two-man race between Aaron Judge, who's the favorite, and Cal Raleigh out in Seattle. What are the odds that becomes more of a race and that Raleigh actually has a chance there?
Well, I mean, Raleigh's putting together one of the great seasons for a catcher of all time, but I also want to point out that Judge is the first, I think, 7-WAR player at the All-Star break since, like, Pedro in '99.
Right.
He's having another amazing year. So, listen, I think it's way too early to factor, like, who the MVPs are. I mean, certainly we know that